Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Awakening Her podcast. How are you doing today, my friend? Hello, my name is Talia Joy. If you are new, welcome. What a great episode. What a great podcast that you found here today. And I'm so excited to dive into this. But first, let's do the little check-in. How's your mind? How's your body? How's your energy? Have you been sleeping? Are you hydrated? Do you need a sip of water like right now? Just let me know. Actually, just take a sip if you need a sip, or just take a sip anyway. Okay. Oh, it's one of those moods today. I hope that you are doing well. And as always, no matter how you're dropping in today, you are absolutely welcome here. And this is your spot. Grab a beanbag chair, take your tea, cozy in. So today we're talking about the impact of chronic fight or flight. And this is something that's going on in the background of so many of our lives. And it's actually been, let's be very vulnerable here, it's been a huge part of a recent breakdown that I've had personally, where you have those times. I had a time. Things are quite dark. Things are gooey. Things are messy. Things are gelatinous. Things feel unclear. And we get into those spaces of overwhelm or feeling defeated or whatever it is for you, right? And I've had a recent time, and I've shared about it here on the show a few months ago, but it lasted for a while. And one of the biggest things I recognized, in addition to the spiritual and the healing and blah, 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 is my body and my mind was in constant, chronic fight or flight. And we all experience this. We're going to dive deep into it. But, it's the stimulation, it's the kids, it's the stress, it's the anticipated stress, it's thinking about money and being late to work and what your boss thinks of you. And there's just constant perceived stress or physical stress. We're going through so much, right? As a collective, you, me, we really are. So you might already know that you've been, I was going to say dabbling in chronic fight or flight, which doesn't really make sense, but you may already know that this is where you've been, or maybe you've just been curious. So we're going to talk about what it's actually costing you emotionally, physically, spiritually. Also, of course, what we can do about it and what you can do right now. I'm also going to dive into what fight or flight really is, touch on the nervous system a little bit. And yeah, I think it's really going to support you because it could be something going on behind the scenes that is almost just making everything feel harder, everything feel more stressful, but you haven't quite been aware of it yet or had the tools. So wherever you're at, again, this is going to be such a great episode. And if you want to do the opposite of fight or flight, which is relax, rest, they call it rest and digest, or your parasympathetic where you're calm. If you want to do that instead of fight or flight, come to the retreat. It's happening in September. It is going to be so nourishing and expanding and rejuvenating. So I will leave the link below. The circle is filling up. The retreat is filling up. If it has been calling you, get your butt in there. I cannot wait to see you. I cannot wait to hug you in person. It's the opposite of stress. Just know that. Okay. So I think we're good. So take a deep breath, drop your shoulders, take a sip of water, and let's get into today's topic. Okay, so we're going to just start, as I said, with, what is fight or flight? What is chronic fight or flight? And a lot of us, a lot of you here already know about the nervous system, at least a little bit, because you're in the self-growth world. A lot of you are nervous system healers. Maybe you're a therapist, whatever it is. You know about the nervous system to some degree, most likely. But a lot of us do think, or it's a common thought, that fight or flight is something that only happens in emergencies. When we think of, panic, someone's knocking at the door and it freaks us out, or there's a near, collision or some emergency where we're stressed, right? But for most of us, especially those with trauma, which could arguably be everybody, but especially those with trauma, when we have old conditioning or when we have high achieving tendencies, can you guys relate? Fight or flight may be almost always on. So again, a lot of people think that fight or flight, stress, oh my God, running from a bear, that's the only time that type of thing happens. But really, it's happening all the time. It's the tension in your jaw. It's the constant scanning of the room to notice what people are thinking about you or what they're doing, what they're judging, who I need to be. It's the anticipation of like, what's next? What's the next goal? It's the low-key dread, the need to push, the inability to rest, even if you're exhausted, because there's so many pressures, or you yourself can't let yourself rest. It's saying yes when you really mean no. It's scrolling when you already feel overwhelmed instead of breathing or going out in nature or doing a walk, or having a walk, I should say. It's the to-do list, the obsession, the constant always something else to do. And sometimes it's the fear of stillness. It's the fear of slowing down because we're afraid of what we might feel or what we might think, or the stillness makes us uneasy. Whatever it is, there's this and everything else, right? The schedules and the things you're missing out on, or the things that you want to do, or the tension, or sorry, not tension, the stress about money, or going for that promotion and not getting it, the traffic. It's, everything. We are constantly triggered into a stress response, or as I said, like tension in your jaw, scanning of the room. It just becomes who we be and we don't even realize it. We are constantly stressed in our brain and in our nervous system when we are scrolling, and especially there's like, when you're scrolling, you're seeing everything from politics to a crime story to someone on your news feed that you feel like is doing so much better than you, someone who's overcome something and it's triggering, or, it's an ex's someone, and you see their post and you're like, ugh, an old boss or whatever. There is so much stress, even just in our phone. And then you think of how often most people are in your phone. It's like almost like how the news is just like bad story, bad story, bad story, bad story. And then at the end, they end it with like a puppy, or like Mr. Smith is turning 108. And you're like, it's supposed to make it all better, but it's so stressful. So even when you see someone's Instagram and inside you have this low key like, oh crap, like they're doing it and I'm not, that's stressful to the brain. So are we in chronic fight or flight? Just asking yourself that. Do you feel like it actually could be a big part of your day? Fight or flight rewires your entire nervous system. It puts you in a state where you are geared to survive, not thrive. So you're in protection, survival, reaction, not in responding and thriving and creating, right? So everything from politics to when we think about our family members to when we're making decisions all day, these things, if they are not balanced, they start to suck our creativity. They start to cover up or be louder, mask our intuition. We don't feel as connected to people around us. We feel on edge. We feel more anxious. If you are someone that has pain, that is where inflammation breeds. And there's so many levels to this. When we're stressed, it actually turns our bodies acidic, and disease can only live in acidity. It actually cannot live in an alkaline body. That's a whole other thing. I'm going back to my like health and nutrition and obsession with health in the body. But when we are stressed, it turns our body, the pH of our body, acidic. And that's where inflammation thrives. That's where disease thrives. That's where cancer thrives. So there's so many reasons to be really aware of not just the big things in your life you have to heal, but actually the everyday energy that you hold. How is your jaw doing? Do you need to like release it a little bit right now? The tension in your body. Release your belly muscles. Just do it. Just right? This is often like we have to unclench really, because when we're clenched, as I said, we're not in creativity, intuition, connection, magnetism. We are in survival. So the next thing I want to talk about is the impacts more, the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual costs. And this was something, again, that was just going on that snuck up on me. And sometimes when we're achieving goals and all these other examples, it feels so good. Like I'm doing this and I'm doing that and check, check, check. And sometimes it feels good, but it still can be stressful to our body and to our mind when we don't balance it out, when we don't spend basically any time in parasympathetic, in relaxation, in peace. So chronic fight or flight or chronic stress creates so many things, but one of the things, the first thing I want to talk about is cortisol overload, which also it has a huge impact on hormones and hormone balance. And I notice a lot of women in my circle, friends, family, people are talking about it more. They're aware of their hormones more. And so part of evening out your hormones, part of supporting your body is actually having time or moving out of chronic stress, having time of relaxation. Your hormones can regulate. And one of the reasons why there's so many physical negative impacts of stress is because when your body is stressed, all of your resources go toward the thing. So back in the day, you've heard this example a lot, right? Your brain would be stressed when you're like chased by a lion or you're defending your cubs. I don't know why all of a sudden we are lions. But animals have an instinct. They have adrenaline. They have fight or flight as well. They have rest and digest or parasympathetic. They have both ends, but they go into fight or flight to like hunt, prey, defend, and then they go back into relaxation. And humans were designed to do the same thing. So if we were defending our territory, if we were hunting a buffalo or whatever was going on, we go into stress. We go into intentional adrenaline, everything we need. And then we're supposed to be able to go back into rest. So when we are in stress, all of our resources, even the energy that we put toward digestion, lessening inflammation, healing wounds, the immune system, all sorts of things that normally get our energy, all of our energy is going toward the stress response, toward the cortisol, toward the adrenaline, because our brain thinks we're in crisis. Even if we're sitting and thinking about that thing our cousin said or the money things to come, your body doesn't know the difference. It is a perceived threat. So all that energy that would normally go to your gut, to, as I said, lessening inflammation, to your immune system, to healing, all of that goes toward your stress response. So chronic stress messes with your hormones because your hormones can't be like regulated and cyclical and have your circadian rhythm when we're constantly stressed. It just wreaks havoc. Also gut issues, digestion issues, because you physically don't digest your food as well or very minimally when you're stressed. Again, all your resources are going toward the stress. So you're not absorbing the vitamins and minerals. You're not absorbing and breaking down the food as well. So then you're bloated and then, you just don't feel well. You're not absorbing, as I said, the vitamins. So all over, digestion is impacted. I find I get more headaches. I find inflammation. Again, your body is not going to fighting inflammation because your brain's like, no, we're in stress. This also can really keep weight on if you're somebody who's been trying to release weight. Also, a chronic stress or being in chronic fight or flight will give you an exhaustion that like a sleep-in doesn't fix. The type of exhaustion that more sleep to a point just doesn't even really fix because you're exhausted by life, by how your brain is perceiving life, by the stress, by the pressures, right? And that's, again, something I can totally relate to right before I crashed and burned. And now I'm like really practicing because with 3 kids and a business and blah, 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 and the brain that I have, I can very easily be exhausted. And then the other impact I touched on a minute ago of chronic fight or flight when it comes to the physical is compromised immune system. And the immune system, of course, is about flus and colds and being healthy. It also impacts wound healing. It also impacts fighting off diseases, cancer, viruses, blah, 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 all those things. It also goes into your allergies. Immune system is so much of how our body is resilient, how our body bounces back, whether it's cut or somebody coughs in our direction or whatever. The immune system is all of it. And with a healthy immune system, we do have less allergies, especially things like seasonal allergies and all that. It even helps with inflammation because the immune system is almost like how strong, again, and resilient your body is. So we're just talking physical, but stress and particularly fight or flight, your body physiologically being in a fight or flight, nervous system state causes all these things. And these things have been proven, they've been studied. You can look it up. I'm not just saying stuff. It really does have a huge impact. Now, let's get to emotionally, because we haven't even talked about that yet. So emotionally, being in fight or flight all the time, it will make you more reactive instead of intentional. You will react to life instead of responding to life. You will have more mood swings, anxiety, irritability, feeling like dread and panic and all these things when you know the feeling, right? When you are in a spiral. So emotionally, when we're always in fight or flight, I find I'm way less patient. I find that things overwhelm me more. So I'm feeling more overwhelmed. I have a lot of difficulty, and I've seen this in clients too, just enjoying the present moment, like enjoying what is. And even if someone's like, oh, all is well, in my mind, I'm like, no, all is not well. I've got this and this. So like being in that fight or flight, even emotionally, makes me personally less positive, less open, less in joy. It'll also leave you feeling emotionally like you're not yourself. And I know some of you can deeply relate to that when we're in constant stress. And I know when I have pain and then I'm in more stress, and I will be like, I don't even feel like I'm myself. I don't even feel like I'm acting like myself. I'm more irritable. It's just takes over. So fight or flight can make you in many ways either feel like you're not yourself, like you're more numb, you're more removed, or you're more irritated, less patient, you're not enjoying the things you used to enjoy as much. And that's because, a huge part is this constant fight or flight, and our bodies are getting more and more exhausted on a deep level. So the other part I want to talk about with this is spiritually. So the cost of being in constant fight or flight, and this is something a lot of my clients don't realize until we talk about or hadn't really thought of, you cannot access your intuition effectively when you are in fight or flight. And I say that as somebody who is a channel. I'm constantly talking to my team and my clients' teams and all of that. And I've also been stressed. As I said, I carry a big load and I go through my own cycles. So it's not that you have no intuition if you're stressed, but you cannot access it as clearly, as in integrity, because it can be fogged by what's going on with you. So if I was in a huge fight or flight response, say about money, and then I'm channeling something for a client about abundance, it's almost going to be like tainted because I'm in a fight or flight. Or if my guides are trying to say to me, like, there's opportunity here, or, all is well, you're going to be okay. I'm a lot more like, it's just not what I want to hear kind of thing. So I have really learned, first of all, with clients, I will never enter any kind of session or one-on-one work if my stress is leading. I take that very seriously, and I will always show up as a pure channel for my clients. And that's how I know too, is like, I really see a difference. If I were to go into anything channeling stressed, it just makes a difference. Anyway, and for my own guidance, I'm not hearing it very clear because I'm, again, just stressed. So the guidance becomes drowned out or drowned. No. The guidance gets drowned out. Is that proper? I don't know. By the mental noise, by the chatter. So spiritually, we're not really hearing our soul. We're not really hearing our spirit team, our starseed team, our mission, our own intuition that guides us through our life. It gets drowned out by all of the noise and all of the fight or flight type energy, that stress. We also become disconnected disconnected from our highest self. And this is because they speak in whispers. It's a nudge. It's, again, a higher frequency that we channel. It's an awareness. It's a knowing that is going to be more subtle than when you're in a hugely stressed state. Sorry, I feel like I'm having a hard time with words today. So it's not that you're disconnected completely. And a lot of us, we can be in stress and go, okay, what would my highest self say? But even that, it takes taking a breath and almost sinking in for a second, because you sense you need to kind of go like, oh, okay, ego, hang on, take a deep breath. Now, what does my highest self have to say, right? So even by doing that, you feel that you can't access that, again, pure, clear guidance from a state of stress. Okay, so we're talking spiritually. It's harder to connect to your intuition. The guidance gets sort of muddied by all the noise. We feel more disconnected from our highest self because we are on opposite frequencies. And the thing I really want to share, especially with you guys, let's talk about how it impacts manifestation. You cannot, and I'm sorry, not sorry, but I'm also saying it to myself, you cannot manifest a life of peace, of freedom, of abundance from a nervous system that only knows chaos. Your energy is your broadcast. As we talked about in the last episode about manifestation, your energy, who you be, is what life responds to. You don't have to activate the law of attraction. It's already working. Who you be is your broadcast. When you are in survival, you are sending out the signal of, I'm not safe, life isn't safe, money sucks, I'll never get the job. But ultimately in the nervous system, it's, I'm not safe, I don't trust, I can't relax, I'm not supported. And the universe responds to that vibration. So healing your nervous system is manifestation work. Healing your nervous system is often, for people like you and I'm sure we're of like mind, it's often the piece that really comes together that helps you to create and manifest something that is those things you've been going after, the quantum leap, the big goals. A lot of times for us, that's what it is, because my guess is you've probably seen The Secret. You probably know the law of attraction is like attracts like. You probably know that you have to put yourself in a better vibration to blah, 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 right? But have you gone deep into the nervous system work? And a lot of you have. And I know for me, that was the newer piece of the puzzle in the last couple of years. Regulation is a spiritual and a healing practice. Emotionally, when you learn to regulate, when you learn, and I'm going to give you a practice before I go, when you learn to regulate your energy, bring safety into your body, that is you healing. Because at the end of the day, whatever you've experienced, whatever was done or wasn't done, the lingering effect is a constant feeling of being unsafe in your body. And it could be with men or trusting people or with women or with money. It can be in all these different areas, but ultimately what we are healing is not just the trauma and the details of what happened. We are rewiring our nervous system for safety. So rewiring, regulating your nervous system is the most badass spiritual healing manifestation work that you can do. Breath and body-based and nervous system practices are the portals to quantum leaping. Because again, you cannot manifest a life of peace and abundance and freedom and those things that we want from a nervous system that only knows stress. Because even if you were to force manifest 10 grand or 100 grand into your life, you'll be stressed about it. You'll find something to be stressed about, like the taxes or how quick it's going or what you should do with it. It'll spark fear because your nervous system only knows fear. And again, I'm putting my hand up here. That was a big realization. I cannot create peace from this, were words I heard like 2 months ago. I cannot create peace from this because I was all wound up. Your energy is your broadcast. Healing your nervous system is the manifestation work, is the spiritual work, is the healing work, is the self-love work, is the quantum leaping work. It's insane. That's why nothing sticks unless your body feels safe. Okay, so before we wrap up, let's take a little bit of inventory and begin this healing journey of moving out of chronic fight or flight and into more peace and safety in your body. So I want you to just start to ask yourself, and you know what, I'll pop these below in the show notes so that you can reflect, but I want you to ask yourself, where in your life have you been reacting instead of choosing? How often in the day, and we're being really honest, how often in the day are you stressed? And nobody's going to hear your answers. Even if I heard your answers, I would not judge you. How often in the day would you say you're stressed? Out of however many waking hours, how many of those hours are stressed? If you were to just guess intuitively. When was the last time, or when are the times when you feel truly safe? When you feel relaxed? When you let go of that belly muscle, or those belly muscles, let go of the throat, drop the shoulders. When was the last time, or when do you feel truly safe, truly relaxed in your body? And start noticing, are you clenching your jaw? Are you holding your breath? Are you pushing through when your body wants to slow down? I want you to start reflecting on these deeper. And in this moment, and as something you can do to move forward, it is as simple as this. Depending on what you're doing right now, put your hand on your heart and one on your belly. If you're driving or anything else, you can pick, choose, whatever you can do. Let's do that now, connecting to your body in a way that feels good. And I want you to take 3 slow breaths, okay? Start the inhale all the way to the top, and exhale slow. Let's do 2 more. Inhale. Hold it for a second, slow, slow, slow. And release. And then 1 more. It can be slow or not, but we're just going to breathe in all the way to the top. Hold it for a second at the top. See if you can sip in 1 more little sip. And then exhale. And make it audible if you can. Drop your shoulders. Shake out your jaw or wiggle out your jaw just gently. Shake out any tension, maybe out of your hands. In this moment, I am safe. In this moment, it's safe to soften. You can do this practice at any time. And remember, the goal isn't to be Zen all the time. The goal is to notice it faster when you've been hijacked and to come back to your center. Because healing your nervous system is not a single breathwork session. It's a relationship with yourself ultimately. Being in a more relaxed state is a choice that you choose, and it's checking in throughout the day. It's giving yourself grace when you spiral. It's letting your body relax, dropping your shoulders like 7,000 times a day. It's repatterning your entire reality from the inside out. It's learning to experience life feeling safe. And you don't have to wait until you feel safe to feel safe. You start creating, you start practicing, you start inching forward toward that now. You were never meant to live in fight or flight. We were not designed that way. And on a soul level, you're not here to just survive in this lifetime. You are here to live fully, to thrive deeply, and to rise wildly and rise now. The most magnetic thing you can do, create a body and a nervous system that feels safe enough to receive the miracles that you are calling in. Okay, my love, you are doing such a good job. I hope that this resonated. Again, if you want to do this, come to the retreat. It's the opposite of fight or flight, which is not how I'm going to sell it going forward. Like, hey, come on, it's the opposite of stress, but you get what I'm talking about. You've been here in the episode. But I'll put that link below, and just take your deep breaths and just know that you are doing such a great job. Okay, I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I truly hope that this resonated, and I hope that this sparked a little something inside you. And I have a question for you. Does your highest self go to retreats? I definitely know that mine does, and I feel like my highest self created the retreat that's coming up in September. I invite you, if your highest self invites you. Really, this is where we unplug from the noise and fully drop into who you really are. And this is more than just surface level peace. This is walking away with deep clarity and aligned steps. This is confidence in your path and your purpose. This is a nervous system reset. And most of all, this is where you nourish yourself and remember who you truly are. So if you want to hang out in person September 19th to 22nd, I would love to meet you in person and give you a hug and share this space and go through an activation together. Everything you need is below in the show notes. You can check out the link there. It is filling up. I urge you, if this calls to you, to jump in now, and I can't wait to see you in September.